Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. has been ranked the best senator in the country by InfoTrack. Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen and Samburu's Lelegwe Tumbesi have followed closely in the latest poll. In the findings, which were released virtually, Tana River Senator Wario Golich Juma was the worst performing senator amongst the 47 elected lawmakers. The study was conducted between November 2019 and January 2020 from a sample pool of 800. Our reporter Grace Wangui begins our bulletin.
Just 2 weeks after InfoTrack released the governor's performance findings, the latest report has now shown that Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. is the best performing senator in the country. The research was based on senators' contribution to the Senate House, their performance on the ground, and the protection of devolution in their respective counties. This year, the firm has released surveys of performance of members of parliament and that of governors.
The ranking of the senators and the MCAs is based on one question, and that question is, how do you rate the performance of your senator, your MCA, since they were elected in 2017 on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is poor, 10 is excellent. So it is that one question that we use to get the rating. But of course, we are alive to the fact that the respondents would then gauge the performance of their elected leader based on many things. Of course, their contribution on the floor of the House.
Their findings today indicate Senator Mutula Kilonzo, who is serving his second term in office, is leading at 66.4%. He was followed closely by Elgeyo Marakwet's Kipchumba Murkomen at 58%. Samburu Senator Lelegwe Tumbesi came in third with 57.2%, followed by Issa Juma of Kwale at 55.4%. In the fifth position is vocal Senator Cleophas Malala of Kakamega at 54.8%. The senator achieved the position despite the previous report ranking Governor Oparanya at position 1 in the Governor's Performance Index. The top 10 senators list continues with Fatuma Dulo, who is the best female senator, and independent candidates at 54.6%. Kericho's Aaron Cheriyot has 52.8%. Samburu's Kithure Kindiki at 52.6%. Muranga's Irungu Kangata at 52.4%. And Samuel Pogisio of West Pokot at 52.1%. On the worst performing senators by ranking is Kajiado's Miapesa Lau at 40.1%, Trans Nzoia's Michael Mbitu at 39.9%, Mwangi Paul of Nyandarua at 39.8%, Abdullahi Ibrahim of Wajir at 39.1%, and Wario Golich of Tana River at 36.4%. According to InfoTrack, top 5 county assemblies are Makueni at 58.5%, Kwale at 57.4%, West Pokot at 54.6%, Kakamega 54.2%, and Machakos at 52.8%. Some senators, including Kakamega's Cleophas Malala, have welcomed the research findings, saying the outcome shows a clear manifestation of young people's ability in changing the nation for the better. Grace Wangui, Hope TV News Watch.
Our church leaders under the Kenya Council of Church Alliances and Ministries, KCCAM, have expressed their disappointment with the BBI report, accusing the BBI task force of failing to take into consideration their proposals. The church leaders say their proposals were also ignored during the 2010 constitution amendments, despite highlighting contentious provisions that needed to be addressed. Addressing the press in Nairobi, the alliance, led by its chair, Bishop Kefa Omai, however, welcomed the optimism from the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga following the meeting with the pastoralist community that the report will be open for dialogue before it's subjected to a referendum. Our reporter Alice Diana has this story.
A section of church leaders have joined the long list of persons opposed to the BBI as it is currently drafted, calling for its amendment before it is subjected for a referendum. Religious leaders under the Kenya Council of Church Alliances and Ministries (KCCAM) have reached out at the Building Bridges Initiative Task Force, saying the Garissa Senator Yusuf Haji-led committee ignored concerns raised by the church. Led by Bishop Kefa Omai and Mark Kariuki, KCCAM's
pertinent issues by highlighting some contentious provisions in the Constitution on issues on legalization of abortion and homosexuality, threat to religious freedom, etc., which we still express the need to be addressed. 68.6% of Kenyan voters voted for the 2010 Constitution. However, in the spirit of building bridges, we need to bring on board the 30% of those who voted against the Constitution.
What we can say is the church has been ignored. In other words, those concerned are taking the church for granted, because we have presented. We went there. We presented our documents. We made our presentation, but they have not been captured.
The alliance has at the same time opposed the proposed reforms in the electoral body IEBC, saying they are not a guarantee to a free and fair election and that political players will not be involved in the nomination of IEBC commissioners. The group also opposed the proposal in the BBI that a representative from the office of the Ombudsman should be appointed by the President to the Judicial Service Commission, saying it will affect the independence of the judiciary.
The only cure is by carrying an in-depth audit in the electoral system and ensuring that all the proposed reforms are implemented to the letter. The issue of electoral body independence needs to be addressed and guaranteed, and political players should not have an active role in nominating commissioners, hence a recipe for manipulation. The issue of independence of the three arms of the government needs a critical discussion and solution. The proposal by the BBI on the introduction of the Judiciary Ombudsman to be appointed by the President will affect the independence of the judiciary. We find the recommendations to scrap the women representatives in the National Assembly and have them replaced by women Senate seats in the Senate, which is the lower house, to be retrogressive. Women need to be involved in making critical key decisions in the running of the government, with most of the crucial legislations being passed in the National Assembly.
KCCAM has, however, welcomed the proposal to increase the revenue allocation to counties, saying it will boost development in all counties, and also backed the proposal for a 7-year tax amnesty in youth enterprises and the introduction of the leaders of opposition, saying it's a step to the right direction.
Tumeshukuru kuona kwamba kuna ule mjadala ambao umekuwa pale kwamba vijana kwa miaka 4 wale ambao wametoka university na wao wapatiwe nafasi ya miaka 4. Hiyo ni sawa kabisa, na hiyo ikawa ni vizuri, lakini tunahitaji ile process yake nayo iangaliwe. Mambo ya prime minister na deputies atukatai pale, lakini isiwe inawekwa kukiwa na makusudi ya watu fulani kuwekwa pale.
The men of cloth have indicated that they will present their recommendations and proposed amendments on the issues the church raised to the handshake principles.
What we need to do is to make sure that all the bridges are repaired, including the bridge of the church. Exactly. That is repaired. Right. If it is not repaired, we have a right. We have a right as a church, and we will stand and say we are not taking that direction.
KCCAM is now recommending that a national delegates conference be convened so that outstanding issues can be discussed and consensus achieved to enable the BBI process to lead us to a more united and cohesive country. For Hope TV News Watch in Nairobi, I'm Alice Diana.
All right, we do apologize for that technical hitch there. Now, ahead of tomorrow's State of the Nation address by President Uhuru Kenyatta in the National Assembly, nominated MP David Ole Sankok says the president should be able to address the issues surrounding the BBI report, especially from the pastoralist community. Sankok, who is a staunch ally of Deputy President William Ruto, has urged the president to ensure concerns raised by people living with disabilities in the country are addressed.
Unajua, kama kuna wale wabunge ambao tuko mrengo moja ya tangatanga ambao wamesema labda hawata attend kwa sababu ya wanatarajia president atakuja kuwadanganya. Mimi I'm not a prophet. I don't have spiritual eyes. I'm not up for a seer. So I will wait for my president and my party leader to come and address us. And then after that, I will do a surgical analysis of what he will have told us. Whether ni ya ukweli ama ni ya uongo, baada yeye kutamka ndio ndajua. Lakini sisi wote tunakuja tukitarajia kitu ya kwanza ambao tuta-address ni mambo ya unemployment of our youth. Where are we in terms of the big four agenda ambao among them the affordable housing was supposed to create 2.5 million jobs every year with 500,000 units per year, translating to a plumber per unit, an electrician, a mason, a painter, and a carpenter per each unit, meaning 5 youth will have got employed per every unit, translating to 2.5 million jobs per year. Irrigation, which is also for food security, will have employed even more. And during this time of COVID-19, we will have realized a lot, rather than kupeleka wana youth wetu na kuwalipa pesa ya kufyeka nyasi kwa barabara.
All right, we want to go back to our first story where Info Trackers released the latest research that shows that Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. has been ranked the best in the country by Infotrack. Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen and Samburu's Lelegwe Tumbesi followed closely in the latest poll. In the findings, which were released virtually, Tana River Senator Wario Golich Juma was the worst performing senator among the 47 elected lawmakers. The study was conducted between November 2019 and January 2020 from a sample pool of 800. Our reporter Grace Wangoi reports.
Just weeks after Infotrack released the governor's performance findings, the latest report has now shown that Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. is the best performing senator in the country. The research was based on senators' contribution to the Senate House, their performance on the ground, and the protection of devolution in their respective counties. This year, the firm has released surveys of performance of members of parliament and that of governors.
The ranking of the senators and MCs is based on one question, and that question is, how do you rate the performance of your senator, your MCA, since they were elected in 2017 on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is poor, 10 is excellent. So it is that one question that we use to get the ratings. But of course, we are alive to the fact that the respondent would then gauge the performance of their elected leader based on many things. Of course, their contribution on the floor of the House.
Their findings today indicate Senator Mutula Kilonzo, who is serving his second term in office, is leading at 66.4%. He was followed closely by Elgeyo Marakwet's Kipchumba Murkomen at 58%. Samburu Senator Lelegwe Tumbesi came in third with 57.2%, followed by Issa Juma of Kwale at 55.4%. In the fifth position is vocal Senator Cleophas Malala of Kakamega at 54.8%. The senator achieved the position despite the previous report ranking Governor Oparanya at position 1 in the Governor's Performance Index. The top 10 senators list continues with Fatuma Dulo, who is the best female senator and independent candidate at 54.6%. Kericho's Aaron Cheriyot has 52.8%. Samburu's Kithure Kindiki at 52.6%. Muranga's Irungu Kangata at 52.4% and Samuel Pogesio of West Pokot at 52.1%. On the worst performing senators by ranking is Kajiado's Miapai Salau at 40.1%, Trans Nzoia's Michael Mbitu at 39.9%, Mwangi Paul of Nyandarua at 39.8%, Abdullahi Ibrahim of Wajir at 39.1%, and Wario Golich of Tana River at 36.4%. According to Infotrack, top 5 county assemblies are Makueni at 58.5%, Kwale at 57.4%, West Pokot at 54.6%, Kakamega 54.2%, and Machakos at 52.8%. Some senators, including Kakamega's Cleophas Malala, have welcomed the research findings, saying the outcome shows a clear manifestation of young people's ability in changing the nation for the better. Grace Angoi, Hope TV News Watch.
The Nairobi Metropolitan Service has declared the preservation of the fig tree that sits right at the center of the Nairobi Expressway operation area. This comes weeks after Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA, threatened to transplant the old fig tree to pave way for the construction of the 27-kilometer expressway. Speaking to the media after inspecting the tree, NMS Director General Mohammed Badi confirmed that his team will rather beautify the tree and its environment in a way that will serve the area residents. Mark Kimondo has this report.
Being one of the moves meant to bring back the lost glory of Nairobi's city, NMS have declared the conservation of the ancient fig tree that had been earmarked for felling to pave way for the construction of Nairobi Expressway. Addressing the media just next to the tree, NMS Director Mohammed Badi said the move is part of NMS environmental conservation efforts and that his team is working to beautify the iconic fig tree that is currently 100 years old.
There has been a lot of talk that part of the development of the expressway is going to bring down this tree. There were fears that this, from people of conservation, that the beauty given by this tree, which is over 100 years old, will be gone in the few weeks to come. Now, the specific purpose of me coming here is to assure members of public and all those concerned from conservation that this tree will be preserved.
The Kenya National Highways Authority's KENHA had earlier announced plans to transplant and relocate the iconic fig tree to pave way for the construction of the 27-kilometer Nairobi Expressway. However, the area residents opposed the move, claiming that the ancient fig tree that sits right at the center of Nairobi Expressway shouldn't be transplanted, saying that it has served them in different ways. According to Badi, it was after deep consultations with the National Environmental and Management Authority, NEMA, KENHA and other relevant authorities that NMS decided to preserve the tree.
KENHA and China Bridge and all of them are in agreement that we need to preserve certain areas so they can be able to adjust their plans so that we still maintain our prestigious trees like the one behind.
With the greatest percentage of Kenya's economy depending on natural resources, NMS have declared that it will not relent in the fight against those tampering with the environment. The task to fence and beautify the tree that has elicited different opinions is expected to end on Wednesday, according to Evans Omlumbi, the area chief.
Kwa hakika hii kazi natarajia kumaliza leo jioni. Maoni yangu nimekaribisha sana kwa sababu mwanzo ni kuhakikisha kwamba tumesecure hii mti ambayo inaitwa mkumo tree, na hii mti imekaa hapa kwa jumla ya miaka zaidi ya 100 na bado tuko nayo na tutaendelea kuisecure kama mayai ama kama mtoto mdogo.
The NMS boss also maintained that his obligation is to serve Nairobi residents, once again repeating his common phrase that he is not a politician.
I have no problem since, as I've said before, mine is to deliver services to the common mwananchi. And that remains my focus.
Currently, the Nairobi Metropolitan Service is on the move to reclaim grabbed lands in Nairobi city and turn them to green parks, this being one of the government's move to maintain Nairobi as the green city under the sun. Recently, a number of trees were cut down along the busy road. Some of the trees that have been cut down include Grevillea and Nandi Flame. David Kibengei, a boda rider plying on the road, says that the fig tree has been of great importance to them in various reasons, hence no need of cutting it down.
Nasema huu mti usikatwe. Na sababu ya kusema hii mti isikatwe, kwa njia moja tungekuwa na miti ingine kama hii site ya sita hapa Westland. Hatungekosa mvua. Unaona? Tungekuwa na mvua kila wakati.
Kama kuna jingine hii barabara inaweza pita kando. Sio ni mti haja ya kutoa. Kwa kitu ya kwanza inafanyanga Westlands inakuwa mali smart sana.
Huu mti wengine wanakuwa na wasiwasi kuwa ni ya zamani, ni ya mababu walikuwa wanaomba hapo. So hata hao wazee walikuwa wanaomba zamani hawako. Mimi suluhisho yangu ni kwamba mambo ya vimira hiyo, tukiingia mambo ya Biblia, Yesu alipokuja mambo ya vimira iliisha. Huu mti unaweza katwa.
It is said that a tree is the most intimate contact with nature. Now, NMS declaration on the conservation of this fig tree that is currently 100 years old speaks out the government's effort to bring back the lost glory of Nairobi city. Mark Kimundo for Hope TV, Nairobi.
Senators have now been allowed to wear traditional attire to the chambers following a Tuesday ruling by Speaker Kenneth Lusaka. This, however, overrules standing orders recognizing a suit and a tie as official dress for male members of the Senate. Lusaka's ruling came after Narok Senator Ledama Olekina on Tuesday attended a plenary sitting wearing Maasai regalia, attracting the attention of senators who sought Lusaka's direction on whether the lawmaker was properly dressed. A section of Kenyans in the streets of Nairobi have commented on the ruling, as Dickens Luvanda tells us.
The Senate, which is a bastion of a tradition by merit of being a house of parliament that follows Commonwealth customs and practices, has paved the way for sharp departure after Speaker Kenneth Lusaka ruled in favor of donning cultural attire for members. Standing orders provide that a male senator shall be dressed in a coat, collar, tie, long trousers, socks and shoes, or a service uniform, religious attire or such other decent dressing as may be approved by the Speaker from time to time.
Before we proceed, I promised to make a ruling on Senator Ledama's dressing.
Senators have, however, been allowed to don the traditional regalia after Narok Senator Ledama Olekina entered the chambers on Tuesday dressed in a Maasai traditional attire, raising concerns from members, with Wajir Senator Abdullahi Ali standing on a point of order, wondering if Olekina was appropriately dressed.
Honorable Senator Ledama Olekina, who has come in a Maasai traditional regalia, is he allowed to be in that uniform today, or because if we encourage this, then all of us will come with our homemade clothes here? Mr. Speaker, I think, is he in order?
Given, for example, Narok and Kajiado, their cultural dress has been recognized world over as one of that represents even Kenya as a country. So it would be very unfortunate for me and unconstitutional to order Senator Ledama to get out because of what he's wearing. Therefore, having read the two, as a speaker, I rule that he's decently dressed and he should remain in this house.
The Speaker's ruling, which is considered progressive, acknowledging traditional attires and culture in various counties, bears sharp contrast to a ruling issued in the 9th Parliament. In 2003, 3 members of parliament in the Kenya National Assembly, including Raila Odinga, Koigi Wamwere and Gorosunga, received a severe dress down from the then Speaker Francis Ole Kaparo before being thrown out of the house for entering chambers donning African attire.
Hakuna haja ya kuvaa nguo za kitamaduni mkienda parliament, sababu parliament ni mahali penye ni official. So watu wanataka waonekane smart.
Hiyo haina value, inaleta ukabila. Yeah. Because in Kenya we have 47 tribes, ndio. How can you come kila mtu akuje na style yake, mimi nikuja na yake rume, mwingine akuje na yake, haita make sense.
Kulingana venye huwa wanavaa, tunaanza kufuata mila za kizungu, ile inatuharibia vitu mingi. Watu wetu tunapata wanaanza tabia zenye sio zetu. Wakifanya hivyo, mila yetu itarudi na tutarudi kwa kitu kimoja kama zamani.
Very, very important statement.
Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV News Watch.
Now moving to COVID-19 situation in the country, Kenya has recorded 1,216 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours after testing a sample size of 6,816. The total number of infections in the country now stands at 65,804. From the new cases, 1,174 are Kenyans, while 42 are foreigners. In terms of gender distribution, 726 are males, while 490 are females, with the youngest being an 11-month-old baby, while the oldest is 99. In terms of fatalities, 26 more patients have succumbed to the virus, raising the fatality to 1,180. A total of 1,289 patients are admitted in various health facilities countrywide, while 5,960 are on home-based isolation and care. 531 patients have recovered from the disease, with 382 coming from the home-based care program, while 149 have been discharged from various hospitals across the country, raising the total number of recoveries to 43,626. The top 10 counties today are Nairobi with 439 cases, followed by Mombasa with 250, Kilifi 63, Kiambu has 59, Taita Taveta has 52, Nyeri 41, Uasin Gishu 38, Laikipia 32, Kisumu 30, and Kajiado 24. Residents of Siaya County have been urged to strictly observe COVID-19 protocols, as 20 new COVID-19 cases have been reported today. A nurse and an ambulance driver have joined the list of those locked up at the Bondo Isolation Center. Confirming the development, Siaya County Executive Committee member for Health and Sanitation, Dismas Odhiambo, said the new cases bring to 237 the total number of COVID-19 cases in the county. He says the county government is working with law enforcement officers to ensure that everyone complies with the set guidelines.
Right now in the county we have a cumulative number of 257 positive cases. You will recall that about 2 or so months ago our numbers were under 100, but they have now been increasing. Ideally we now get averagely double digits. In the last tests that were done last 24 hours, we have 20 positive cases. That is the highest number that we have received in one single test, and it is alarming to us. Of significance is that COVID is in our communities. So what we are experiencing is now community infection, and that means that nobody is safe. So we need to really improve on how we comply with COVID. We are working with the law enforcement officers, and the DCC was here and he has confirmed to ensure that our people comply with these requirements so that we can mitigate against the increasing numbers.
Let's take a short commercial break on Hope TV News. What's still more to come after the break.
Welcome to Rafiki Gardens along Kangondo Road by Optiven. This is an ideal and affordable piece of investment that is strategically placed within the Nairobi metropolis. Rafiki Gardens is close to key social amenities like schools, banks, and shopping malls. This project comes with ready title deeds, Maram roads, and a marking fence round the property. Get a plot at only 695,000 Kenya shillings cash price. You can also pay a 50% deposit and pay the rest in 6 months installments. Call us today on 0702 8310 83 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Events, news, Africa, the world, our past, our future. Catch all this and more on Africa's Moment with Pete Ondeng.
Is there really a future of hope for Africa? To believe or not to believe, that is the question. Who holds the key to Africa's escape from the dungeons of poverty and backwardness?
Every Wednesday, right here on Hope TV at 8 p.m.
Welcome to Activate.
It's a good morning. Good morning.
Kickstart your day with George and Kerry on the Sweet Hour of Prayer.
And welcome to Activate, this being the station where you listen and live Hope FM.
From Nairobi to the world.
Great music just for you.
Activate.
The only show that keeps you activated.
Yes, indeed.
Activate every weekday morning from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Only on Hope FM, where you listen and live.
Welcome back to Hope TV News Watch. Elpora's primary school in Maralal, Samburu County, has been closed after a teacher tested positive for COVID-19. Area Education Officer Alan Omondi said the teacher has been hospitalized at Nakuru Hospital as fumigation exercise continues in the school. 9 teachers and 1 support staff have since undergone COVID-19 tests and are awaiting results. And former Tetu MP James Ndungu has finally pleaded to charges of creating disturbance at a multi-billion shilling estate in Kitsuru after talks to settle the dispute out of court failed. Ndungu, alongside Josiah Otemu, Godfrey Ochieng, Kennedy Asewe and Ouma Ogonji, appeared before Magistrate Bernard Ochoi but denied the charge. It's alleged that they forcefully broke the door of the server room and chased away Wells Fargo security guards who were manning the said facility, an offense committed on 16th of October 2019 at Kihingo Village, Waridi Gardens in Kitisuru, Kiambu County. In the case filed by Ndungu's brother, Gitahi Gedhenji, prosecution counsel James Geshoka said Gitahi had written a letter to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions seeking to withdraw the case, but later abandoned the plea, leaving the DPP with no choice but to prosecute. Magistrate Ochoi released the accused persons on a cash bail of 10,000 shillings each. The case will be mentioned on November 25th when a pre-trial date will be fixed. Alice Wairimu Nderitu, a renowned armed conflict mediator, has been appointed the United Nations Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres described Nderitu as a recognized voice in the field of peace building and violence prevention, having led as a mediator and senior advisor in reconciliation processes among communities in Kenya as well as in other African settings. She takes over from Adama Deng, a Senegalese jurist who assumed the role in 2012. Alice Nderitu is the founder of Community Voices for Peace and Pluralism, a network of African women professionals preventing, transforming and solving violent ethnic, racial and religious conflicts globally. Nderitu, a former commissioner of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, was recently part of the panel of eminent persons monitoring the Tanzanian elections. She has more than 12 years of experience in conflict prevention and peace building. Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent a message of condolence to the people of the House of Khalifa and the government of the Kingdom of Bahrain following the death of Prime Minister Sheikh Khalifa bin Salman. President Kenyatta mourned the departed Prime Minister as a great friend of Kenya and an astute global leader whose contribution to regional peace processes in the Middle East shall be dearly missed. He termed the death of Prime Minister Sheikh Khalifa bin Salman as a big blow to the world, especially in the Middle East, where he was a celebrated peace champion and an icon of tranquility. Sheikh Khalifa bin Salman, aged 84, was one of the longest-serving leaders in the Middle East, having taken over the premiership in 1970, a year before the Gulf nation attained independence in 1971. The country will hold a week of official mourning, with the burial ceremony expected to take place after the body has been transported home from the United States. During the mourning period, flags will be flown half-mast and government ministries and departments closed for 3 days. Now, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, has urged politicians to desist from issuing inflammatory utterances, especially now that the country is heading towards the 2022 general election in an effort to ensure unity among Kenyans. The Commission is working in partnership with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP, to ensure that all persons accused of hate speech and incitement to violence are prosecuted. This was revealed on Wednesday during an NCIC sensitization forum in Nakuru County that sought to sensitize police officers on the law relating to hate speech and related offences.
We are sending a very stern message to politicians now that we are nearing the general election, that they should desist from issuing any words or utterances that can stir hatred or contempt between our very many ethnic groupings in Nakuru.
And the reason we are here is that we want to create a team that then will be able to deal with emerging challenges that may arise in the case of investigation, collection, and presentation of evidence in court. And we are building not capacity just for the prosecutors as well as the investigators, so that they are able then to work in harmony. Because one of the strategies that the DPP is employing is a multi-agency approach, collaboration and cooperation in the investigation and prosecution of these particular cases.
We have focused on Nakuru tremendously as a region that we want to make sure Kenyans don't kill one another.
Uasin Gishu County Assembly has resumed its sittings after suspending its sessions for 21 days after some of its staff tested positive for COVID-19. While presiding over the session on Wednesday, the Deputy Speaker, Hosea Lamai, said the Assembly will now conduct its plenary sessions and committee sessions via Zoom technology to avoid risks in crowded chambers. He said the Assembly will also be fumigated and COVID-19 protocols observed to the latter,
so that we can be able to transact the business of this county. We've agreed under the leadership of Honorable Speaker and the leadership of this Assembly that virtually via Zoom we will be transacting our business. And this afternoon we've begun that, and I want to report that it has been very impressive for members to be able to contribute through motions in their respective places. We will be doing this within our plenary and also our committees sittings and any other business that we would wish to transact. I want to still call upon all of us that we continue adhering with all the protocols that they've been set for us to be able to combat this COVID-19.
Looking at what is happening internationally, Hong Kong pro-democracy lawmakers have resigned after Beijing forced the removal of 4 of their colleagues. On Wednesday, Beijing passed a resolution allowing the city's government to dismiss politicians deemed a threat to national security. Shortly afterwards, the opposition lawmakers said they would leave the city legislature in solidarity. For the first time since Hong Kong was handed back to China in 1997, the body has almost no dissenting voices. Hong Kong, formerly a British colony, was returned to China under the one country, two systems principle, which allowed it to retain more rights and freedoms than the mainland until 2047. The dismissal of the 4 legislators is being viewed as the latest attempt by China to restrict Hong Kong's freedoms, something Beijing has denied.
Hong Kong and oil! Hong Kong and oil!
And today, we will resign from our positions because our partners, our colleagues are being disqualified by the central government's ruthless move. And they found no reason at all to disqualify our colleagues. And the worst of all is, according to the basic law, there are separation of power under the stipulation of the basic law. But today, the decision made by the central government simply say that all the separation of power will be taken away and all the power will be centralized in the chief executive. Of course, chief executive is the puppet of the central government. So as a result, that is the basic argument why we say today is the end of the one country, two system.
Joe Biden has termed President Donald Trump's refusal to concede victory in last week's election an embarrassment. This was during President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris' public address on health care following the Supreme Court hearing. Joe Biden, who has been making contact with foreign leaders, insisted nothing will stop the transfer of power. Meanwhile, President Trump tweeted that he would ultimately win the race that all major TV networks forecast he lost.
Moving along in a consistent manner, putting together our administration, the White House, and reviewing who we're going to pick for the cabinet positions. And nothing's going to stop that. The whole Republican Party has been put in a position, with a few notable exceptions, of being mildly intimidated by the sitting president. I think the legal action is, you're seeing it play out, the actions he's taking. And so far, there is no evidence of any of the assertions made by the president or Secretary of State Pompeo.
Let's take another short break on News Watch. We'll be back with business and sports news.
Only God can turn a mess into a message.
I have a boy on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm still preaching on the pulpit.
Amen.
Niliona mguu ya nyuma inakuja tu kunikanyaga, imenilenga tu kwa tumbo. Nikaitana tu, Jesus. I got tired of working with the x-ray papers, and one day I just woke up and decided to burn them.
A test into a testimony.
The whole community didn't want to hear that anybody is born again. Excommunicated, straight.
Bila Yesu hakuna njia.
Join Sharon Naitore Wangenye on Testify.
Katika hiyo harakati hiyo spirit ikakemewa, mimi nimeona Yesu Kristo namna hii. Kwa msalaba. Opa. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m. for a moment to grow your faith some more.
De Beneficius Messiah. That's the nickname of Psalm 117 when the author says, "Praise the Lord and laud him." Why should we praise the Lord? The Jewish doctors tell us that that chapter was written to be a benefit of the Christos and the coming Mashiach. And indeed, Paul referred to Jesus in 1 Timothy 6:2 as the benefit. John 4:10 refers to Jesus as the gift of God. Haggai refers to Jesus, the coming Messiah, as the desire of all nations. And Luke 2 refers to Jesus as being great tidings of joy to all people. So too, I want to encourage you that the Christ dimension can live through you so that you no longer live, but now you have the gift, the benefit, the desire of all nations, and the glad tidings of great joy manifested through you when you simply put your faith and trust in the Father who sent his Son to image him to the world. By faith, the Christ dimension will be manifested through you too.
Whether you are fat or thin, and for me, I don't consider myself fat. I consider myself good for my purpose, to hug women. When they come crying, and they come and hug me, they just come and I hug them and they cry and cry and cry until they are comfortable.
We praise together, we praise him.
Welcome back. Trustmark Insurance Brokers has been declared and awarded as the overall best intermediary of the year in the 2019 Annual Intermediaries Awards by UAP Insurance Kenya Limited. The broker who met the required parameters of the program was awarded with a brand new car, Volkswagen Polo. The annual awards covered all the key intermediated distribution channels, including brokers, independent agents, tied agents, banks, as well as alternative channels. Arthur Ginga, the East Africa UAP Old Mutual Group Chief Executive Officer, said the loyalty program is designed to not only recognize the top intermediaries but also take leadership in the market to attract and retain top-performing intermediaries.
Today we are very proud to be presenting a prize to our top performing intermediary, Trustmark Insurance Brokers. We have had a successful year working with them to expand our general insurance business. Our general insurance business has recently introduced new products into the market, which have taken off quite well. And Trustmark has been at the forefront of selling some of those new products. We are very proud of the achievements today, and we are very proud to be honoring our commitment to the intermediaries.
In this program, we encourage brokers to partner with us in business. We measure their performance based on revenue, and at the end of the year we look at the winners. And we have several categories, with the overall winner taking the main trophy or accolade for the year. This year, this particular point in time, we are recognizing Trustmark Insurance Brokers as the 2019 overall winner in this royalty program. And we are proud to hand over a new vehicle, and we believe this will go a long way in cementing the royalty program and our partnership with intermediaries.
We have emerged as a top broker, and this is due to the partnership and the healthy relationship we have with UAP. In terms of service delivery, we work very well together, and with this kind of partnership, I think we are going to go far.
Stanbic Bank Kenya has released its 2019 sustainability report on Wednesday, which captures the bank's social, economic and environmental impact. The sustainability report is premised on 7 key areas which are aligned to Kenya's National Development Plan. These areas include job creation and enterprise development, education, financial inclusion, health, environment and climate change, infrastructure development, and Africa trade and investments.
2017, the bank took an intention of defining what value to society is going to be. And that came up with what we call our 7 C impact areas. The C standing for social, environmental, and economic impact. It is on those 7 areas that we are building upon.
We've worked with the government in fulfilling the Big 4 agenda and have been partnering with the government in fulfilling the Vision 2030 and ensuring that the aspirations of Kenyans are met in different forms. I'll give examples. The first one that we can come to mind is that we've been heavily involved in providing student accommodation, and as most of you know, we're the first bank to launch a green bond in Kenya, which supports housing for students, 5,000 units for students, but also supports our environment.
I was happy to notice that Stanbic Foundation has come in very, very strongly to support our SMEs. We appreciate the training and the partnership which is already going on, and we know that that is something which will go very far in strengthening the SMEs. Again, we appreciate your support in the Big 4 agenda, both the bank and the foundation. You know that is where our our target has been greatly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. But we are happy to work with partners like Stanbic Foundation to ensure that we accelerate and reach, and we don't miss our target.
KCB Group PLC after-tax profits for the 9 months ending September 2020 stood at 10.9 billion shillings, 43% lower than the 19.2 billion shillings recorded last year. The performance was largely impacted by increased provision on loans and advances in the wake of increased risk of credit default associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the financials released on Wednesday, total income was up 16% to stand at 69.1 billion shillings compared with 59.7 billion shillings reported in September 2019.
Surprisingly, even in the pandemic, our balance sheet has grown. Our total assets have grown 27%. We've closed about 972 billion, just shy of 1 trillion. This was driven by deposits growing by 32%, and that those deposits were then utilized in loans, which has grown by 19%, and the rest was parked in government securities. We've been very selective in terms of lending, given that obviously the risk factor in the environment necessitates us to be quite choosy about where we're going to lend. Now, with that growth in the balance sheet coming into the income statement, our net interest income has grown by about 24%.
The Senate Sessional Committee on Delegated Legislation and the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries have resolved not to accede to the Crops Tea Industry Regulations 2020 and recommended that the Senate announce the regulations in their entirety. While making a statement relating to the activities of the Delegated Legislation Committee to the Senate, Chairperson Senator Mohamed Faki said some of the regulations were not in the interest of the counties, adding that they should clearly provide for the role of the counties, seeing that agriculture is a devolved function.
In addition to the above, farmers are sometimes forced to throw away tea leaf delivered at the tea buying centers for flimsy reasons, depending on the moods of the weighing clerk at the tea bander. Mr. Speaker, imagine a tea farmer who woke up 6 in the morning, went to the farm to pluck tea until past midday, delivered the tea at the tea buying center in the afternoon, waited for the weighing clerk to come at 10 p.m. at night, only to be told that he or she, his or her tea is not of acceptable standard and quality.
We need stability and predictability on the farmer, how he can earn decent bonuses, but at the same time, he must meet his basic costs at the green level. Therefore, we must give him a guaranteed minimum returns at the green level position so that he can also be a major player in the market.
It's an issue that we have to take seriously as Kenyans, because Kenya, we signed the Maputo Declaration, and the Maputo Declaration was very clear that 10% of the national revenue will go to farming. And when it comes to tea, tea is a big employer for youth, farmers, and people can even employ themselves. As a country, we are talking about employment as a very big agenda for us. We want to say, Honorable Speaker, there is need for the tea manufacturing industry to be streamlined.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice that the Senate adopts a report of the Sessional Committee on Delegated Legislation on the Crops Tea Industry Regulations 2020, legal notice number 97 of 2020, laid on the table of this Senate on Tuesday, 10th of November 2020, and that pursuant to Section 18 of the Statutory Instruments Act and Standing Orders number 2214B and 2215B, annuls in its entirety the Crops Tea Industry Regulations 2020, legal notice number 97 of 2020. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is now going to Kasarani Stadium. Harambee Stars were held A 1-1 draw by 10-man Komoro at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, as they blew the chance to go top of Group G of the African Cup of Nations AFCON qualifying matches. The Stars fell to an early setback after Yusuf Mchangama's fizzing shot from a free kick deceived goalkeeper Arnold Origi for the opener, and the goal scorer Bliss swiftly turned to agony when he was sent off for a second booking. Now, Nondi's and Kenya's Sevens star Oscar Dennis was last evening involved in an accident in Karen, Nairobi, and is currently in hospital. The car accident resulted in a seriously damaged leg, and the star was rushed to hospital. The sad news comes in the wake of the KRU invite to 29 players to start training for the upcoming HSBC World 7 Series. This and more in our sports roundup with Joseph Maingi.
Oscar Dennis was on his bike at the junction of Bonagi Road and Kware Lane in Karen, Nairobi, when he was hit by a car. Dennis arrived back in the country this week from Bermuda, where he featured and won the World 10 Series with the SX10 franchise side. The news comes as Kenya Rugby Union has invited national team players for medical and physical assessment as they prepare for the upcoming season. Shuja's players underwent their COVID-19 test yesterday, and the Lionesses are expected to follow suit. The 29 Shuja man squad, which has been called up for testing, include Andrew Omondi, Vincent Oyala, Jacob Oji, Joyfrey Okwach, Johnston Olindi, Collins Injera, Billy Othiambo, Daniel Tabu, Samuel Liet, William Baka, Haman Humwa, Oscar Ouma, Oscar Dennis, and Dennis Ombachi. Elsewhere, the international break gets underway tonight with a host of matches being staged. The Netherlands take on Spain in a high-flying friendly at the Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam tonight. Spain are coming into action after a surprise 1-0 loss against Ukraine last time, while the host entered the fixture winless in 4 matches. Belgium and Switzerland prepare for their latest UEFA Nations League fixtures with an international friendly in Brussels. Roberto Martinez and Vladimir Petkovic are expected to name match-changed lineups ahead of the important matches at the weekend. Elsewhere, France must navigate a friendly showdown with Finland tonight before the World Cup champions take on Portugal and Sweden in 2 crucial National League matches in the coming days. In Germany hosts Czech Republic tonight in an international friendly between the 2 bordering European nations. The 2 sides last met in September 2017 in a World Cup qualifying match, with the Germans running out with a 2-1 win. In Portugal will be at home to prepare for their pivotal National League matches against France and Croatia, with a midweek friendly against Andorra at the Estadio da Luz. Elsewhere, Italy welcome Estonia to the Stadio Artemio Franchi tonight, as the Azzurris will be without the services of the head coach Roberto Mancini, who has contracted COVID-19 and is currently on self-isolation. With us, your sports. Do have a blessed evening. I'm Joseph Maingi.
All right, we have come to the tail end of this bulletin tonight. Thank you so much for watching Newswatch. My name is Tonny, Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Murithi. Have a good night and God bless.